Hello.
Hey man, how you doing? You all right?
Hello. I'm doing well. Yes.
Sorry, I'm just stretching over here. Life on the boat is, a bit tight.
Yeah.
I need to do a bit of yoga, I think. Do you do
Yeah.
yoga? at all?
No, but I do stretch.
Yeah,
I do Taiso. Sometimes I do radio Taiso in the morning with Rena.
nice.
We listen to the NHK version on YouTube and we do our little exercises.
That's great.
Yeah, it's quite funky. Like it reminds me of that character from Norwegian Wood, I think it is. And the guy lives with them and he does the radio like
Oh,
gymnastics
yeah,
every
yeah, yeah.
morning. And it really fucks him
Is it
off.
calisthenics or something they call
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Gymnastics, calisthenics.
Gymnastic. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's just something we do. Just that, and then eating. Was it natto? That's like
Natto.
our cultural connection back to Japan and Obon, which has happened recently. We sort of remembering our ancestors.
Yeah. Where do you get natto from?
We got the Asian supermarket here actually.
Right. Is it a decent price?
Oh yeah, I mean they got everything. But yeah, recently I've been getting into these drinks, man. So we've been going hard out on Chinese food, and we got into these drinks called Wong Lao Ji. It's this like sweet tea,
Yeah.
and we brought an industrial load of it the other day. My brother, we took my brother's car down to the shop, and we picked up like a couple of crates of this. It's in this like really iconic red can. And it's really good. Like it's like it's kind of like a sweet like a sweet tea.
Yeah.
Like a Lipton kind of tea, but a little bit less sweet than that. And it goes really well with any kind of dinner or something. And
nice. That's been keeping you going.
Yeah, so that's been keeping me going. But yeah, as you might have heard, we're actually in a bloody lockdown.
Yeah, over one case, is it?
Yeah, our government has overreacted, but I kind of understand they needed to kind of snap it, soon. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, a bunch of businesses are going to go under because of this. People are not really happy. Yeah.
And can you imagine being that one person that caused this to happen? I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
The pressure that's weighing down on them.
Well, I think one of the challenges is that there's challenges to what's happening in New Zealand as an island, where there's a kind of a strong conformity consensus, but really what's happening, I think, is that the government is actually overstepping its powers, to be honest. And I understand you've got to keep people safe, but they're pretty much killing our economy, man. And I've seen, just, compared to where it was before the lockdowns, the amount of shops and cafes and restaurants and all sorts that have actually just gone out of business because of this. Not because of the virus, but because of the response to the virus, is what's kind of concerning me. And at the same time, I appreciate that there's a lot of, because it was never that hard in New Zealand. It was, obviously we got off a bit lightly, but at the same time, it's like, man, people's lives are fucked,
Yeah, you did sort of overreact to quite, there wasn't many cases, right? And it's so sad to see the businesses that have been affected, because we have the same here. Like a lot of places have closed down, and we've got whole strips of streets in London that I walk through, and every single business has a sign in the window that says thanks for being with us for 10 years, or thanks for being with us for 15 years, but we've closed down now. But not only that, is we've got a real like labor shortage at the moment in the UK. So the hospitality industry has been absolutely destroyed, and like really famous big cafes and restaurants are struggling to find staff, because one, everyone's gone home because of this, because of crazy lockdowns and stuff, and two, we just had Brexit recently, but we sort of had a double whammy. But yeah, it's a really difficult time for businesses at the moment. It's really sad.
Yeah, man. Well, it's interesting you mention that, because the exact same thing is happening in New Zealand, where it's kind of the elephant in the room, to be honest. But exactly what you said. The price, the cost of living is so high in the cities that people who would otherwise be doing effectively minimum wage work are unable to live in the cities, and so there's literally restaurants and cafes that can't open because they don't have enough staff, and there's not enough students, and there's not enough anything, and so this kind of fracturing of society is taking place, and it's really interesting. And I guess the reason I do talk about this is because it kind of connects to my work, where New Zealand, the housing, everything, it is all connected, and this kind of dream of the old days of New Zealand, where everyone could own their own home, where everything was good, and we worked in union jobs 9 to 5 and went home and had long weekends in a batch that we could go and visit in summertime. I mean, that's just a joke now, but that's kind of the New Zealand that a lot of people grew up with, and a lot of people feel like they have that still, and they don't know what all these young people are whining about. But the reality is, it's not that, and it's frustrating, man, because there is a lack of kind of critical discourse. Just in the media, people think, well, the government can't do any wrong. Or there's, it is what it is, but it's like, well, actually we have a voice and we can do something about it. And I guess that kind of concerns me more than what's actually happening with the, with COVID, to be honest. It's like, well, where did people's heads go? What are people talking about? And,
and what's going to happen next? Like a lot of people are talking about this big reset thing that's happening. With the
are they talking about that on your side as well?
Oh, everywhere, man, absolutely everywhere.
That's interesting.
This is sort of like been a little pause and reflect section, and I think COVID has been positive in that way.
I mean, if we're going to wear it on our sleeves, I think, I mean, it's interesting you mentioned that, because I'm hearing that on this side of the planet as well. And people are saying capitalism has done its dash, and it's kind of like, everything's kind of coming together, and there's literally nowhere for it to go. The day of the lockdown, actually, the interest rates, get reviewed every 90 days. The central bank interest rate, the Reserve Bank interest rate, and it was the day of the lockdown, or the second day of the lockdown, that they announced their change, which was no change to our almost zero interest rate, which it needed to go up to have an impact on the housing prices in a positive sense, but it didn't go up; it just stayed where it was. So it's kind of like, I don't know, that seemed like a bit of a coincidence to me. But anyway, man, this is all conspiracy theory stuff here.
I know, but it's a good time to start collecting a bit of Bitcoin, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think I can agree with that. I was actually talking to a friend. I was like, oh man, we should just start a new business and just only accept Bitcoin. Let's not even bother with trying to do it over PayPal or Stripe, fiat. It's the future. I mean, it's already here. I've sent you a Lightning payment already, haven't I?
You have,
yeah. We're on the Lightning network. But I mean, I think the important thing though is, like, throughout all of the change, because change is inevitable. Have you ever read any Marcus Aurelius
meditations? Love meditations a lot.
For anyone listening, I do recommend it. The meditations. I actually really recommend the. I believe it might be like 18, or it's from the 19th century version. Whichever the public domain one is, it's like written in this really beautiful kind of old, not quite Shakespearean, but kind of old school English, which is very relaxing, and there's a lot of thou, a lot of sort of that sort of style of speaking, but it is very poetic when you see it in that form.
Personally, I really like the Gregory Hayes one. I think Gregory Hayes is quite a big translator. He does a lot of stuff, and kind of opposite to what the one that you're describing is. It's a bit more sort of like easy to digest, I guess, real. But funnily enough, I've just started doing a little bit of sort of my own meditations in a way. Like, the way that Aurelius used them was each day he would write down these meditations, these small journal entries that would remind him of something he did wrong during the day, or something he wanted to focus on during the day, sort of like either looking back or looking forward. And I've started doing that myself, and it really helps, So like, for example, in the morning, I'll write something that I didn't enjoy yesterday, or something that I think I can improve on or get better with. And then that can be my meditation for the day. and it's actually really, really incredible. I'm really enjoying it.
I'm glad you found that, because you used to do a bit of a meditation practice in Malaysia, right?
Yeah, I've always been a bit of a meditator, but I've always sort of flirted with it. It's sort of,
Yeah.
I'll go for a few months where I'm absolutely, really into it and doing it every day, and then I haven't meditated for a little while actually, but this is starting again now.
Yeah. No, it's interesting you mentioned that, because so basically, Tuesday evening, I was at the office working on some stuff with the team, and then the news media in this country is pathetic, and so I haven't even been following it. And then my colleagues said, an announcement being made. There's been some cases in Auckland, and then they made the announcement, and it just really fucked me off, because it was like, this kind of snap thing, lockdown as of midnight.
Wow.
The gates are shutting. And I was like, fuck it. I was with my buddy, and we took his car down to the supermarket just like everyone else. But we were like, look, we were actually quite close to the supermarket, so we managed to actually stockpile a bit of stuff, because the supermarkets were going to go crazy, and it's this kind of panic buying, but it's like literally we had no food. I hadn't been intending for this to happen. I hadn't expected it. So I got a few things, and I managed to get out of there, but I could feel the palpable, I could feel the panic. And then it was just like, you realize how much of a herd animal that we are. We feel other people's emotions, and in the supermarkets, everyone's trying to buy their shit, and get their food. And it's like, there's this impending, and by the time I got out, because I actually got out quite early, and there wasn't that many people, but by the time I was leaving, there was like this huge line of people out into the car park trying to get their food. And I don't know, it's like this panic switch that's just being pushed and played with, and
I think I really resonate with that, because like when I was in Japan during the first lockdown, I felt very uneasy, and I think it's because of the way that other people were reacting. There was this horrible atmosphere in the air. Didn't matter where you were, in supermarkets or combinis, or even in the our cafe, like the atmosphere was just really thick, and everybody was you could really feel it. But can you just explain like what happens with the lockdown now in New Zealand? How does it work?
So it's I'd say, it's quite tight, like, stay at home, essential services only, supermarket, pharmacy, that sort of thing.
Going to work is okay, or
no, man, work from home.
Really?
Yeah. So basically, unless you're unless you're an essential service, like, for example, my brother is an essential service, with the work he does. But a lot of people, fire department, that sort of thing, or infrastructure. But basically, 90% of people just go home. And if you can work from home, you do. And so as I can. But if you're working in a shop or something, then you're pretty much you're just at home. And there is a wage subsidy scheme, which is kind of the money printer. But in a way, it hasn't kicked in yet, because we've only been in it for a few days. But I imagine it will kick in next week. And so people will get a wage subsidy to basically pay, for people who can't work.
And how long is it?
So, of course, initially it was a 3 days, and then it was 3 days for New Zealand, and then one week for Auckland. But of course, it was going to be longer. So they made the announcement on yesterday to extend it until Tuesday, and I'm pretty sure it's going to get extended again. There'll be more cases that pop up. So they're kind of like drip feeding it, because if they just said we'll do 3-week lockdown straight away, I think people would lose the plot. But yeah, it is frustrating, because what I was saying about the kind of the palpable kind of fear and panic is like, I felt that, and it affected me, and I was like, man, I don't like being affected by this, because I was feeling quite uncomfortable, and I was like, I was ready to almost just leave without without buying anything, or just kind of deal with it, and starve effectively. But I thought, Lana, I can wait in this hideous queue for another 20 minutes to get my food. But it's like, man, this is some total bullshit. We shouldn't have to be put through this process at a moment's notice, because it was literally like the announcement came at 6, and by the I pretty much went straight to the supermarket, and it was all good. And then as people started piling in, it started to turn to chaos. And it was it was all good. Like I went to another. I'm really keen to stay away from the big supermarkets. but we went to a smaller supermarket, a smaller Asian supermarket to get some stuff the other day, and it was all good. But I don't know. It's just the first few days of it was really quite tough because it was feeling like you're between a rock and a hard place. And it's interesting you mentioned the meditation because it definitely helps, you know, because the situation is out of your control, and so it's easy to get wound up in it. But then there are things that you can do for yourself that actually make it a lot more bearable. And so I'm going to share a few things with you. So,
please. Yeah.
So number one, I woke up this morning and I deleted my Facebook.
Wow. The actual account or just the app?
No, it's gone. I'm now, I mean, it's long overdue. And this, for people listening, you know, they might be thinking, oh, you know, whatever. But, you know, actually, because it was like peak. Yesterday was sort of peak kind of concern with the whole situation. I was like, look, I got to pull myself out of this. You know, no, the government isn't here to help. They're not, you know, the mental health aspect of it is not being addressed whatsoever. So I got to take that into my own hands. And the first thing is to like just disconnect from the bullshit.
Yeah.
So there was just a couple of people who I didn't have a connection with, who I just emailed and said, hey, look, I messaged and I said, hey, this is my email. Do you have Signal? Do you have, do you have email? You know, let's keep in touch. And I sent them an email, downloaded a little backup of all of my Facebook stuff just so I've got it. And then, deleted the account. So that's gone. And it feels good, man. Like, it really, I know for a while there was this kind of subconscious unease with just being this fucking data object in someone's thing, you know, and it kind of goes against all of the ethos, which we might have talked about previously, but it's like the hacker ethos, right? Like, I fuck the system. Like, why should these guys have our conversations on record, and why should they have all of our data and all of our social graph and stuff?
Money, man, it's horrible, isn't it?
It's disgusting, man. And then the other thing I did, so just today, I've pretty much completed my de-googling my life as well.
Oh.
So I've been using ProtonMail for a while. Have you heard of ProtonMail?
Yeah. I don't know much about it.
This podcast is sponsored by.
Thank you to our sponsors, Proton.
Yeah. No, they're the fucking shit. So they basically give you this like secure service, and I was like, oh man, because you realize we've actually been like ideologically brainwashed by Google, man. Because like people think Google, email equals Gmail, but it doesn't. And I tried it out. I set up a ProtonMail. I hooked up my domain, and I was like using it for a while. And I was like, man, I had no issues with it at all. Because I wasn't sure, was it going to get blacklisted and not be able to send emails and stuff. But it works perfectly fine. In fact, it's better than Gmail, man, in many ways, especially the privacy. But because as you know, I've got a number of things I do. So I've just slowly been bringing my emails over. And I basically currently am bringing over my final email that I still have on a Gmail service. And so that's taking place. And then, the calendar and that. So the only sort of little issue is just what I'm going to do with the Google Docs, but I'll find a solution for that. But
I mean, like Google is very convenient. There's no arguing that. But I've started using Google a lot more because of work. The new workplace is heavily reliant on Google. And I am trying to keep it separate from my personal life.
I mean, work's work, man. Like having a Gmail for work, whatever. But just for the personal stuff, I think it was like Barbara Kruger. She's like, give me convenience or give me death. Like we have this society where it's like, I just got to log in. But it's like, man, what are you going to do once you log in? The medium is the message, right? Is it Marshall McLuhan? Like, if you use this, like, and I think the final straw as well with Facebook was like this. I call it the Fischer Pickle interface. It's like a thing if you ever work with me on design projects, you hear me just say, it's too Fischer Pickle, which is kind of what I mean by that is like it's too much like the big red button. Like they simplify it down. It needs to be. It needs to reflect what you want it to be. And they kind of simplify it down and they dumb it down and they try to be your friend and they use like, here's your memory from 2 years ago, and shit like that, and they try to humanize it, and it's like this fucking what are the replicants? Like it's like who are you? Like how did you dredge up this photo from 2 years ago, and you're reminding me of my memory? I mean, it's literally out. Like, it's not even a joke, but it's literally out of Blade Runner. You know, where he's got the photo of the horse or something. Oh no, the origami of the horse.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, this is your memory."
It triggers a memory.
You know, and it's like, "Oh, here's your memory from Facebook," and it's like, "Fuck off," you know. I don't.
But for most people, this taps straight into their brain, right? This is like wired right into their receptors in their brain to switch them on and to get them to engage. And we're sort of luckily we're on the outside and we can notice it for what it is.
Yeah, so I mean, it had me for a while, man. But I needed to do it. I needed to be part of the system. I was in the party for a while, you know, and now I'm like, all right, fuck this shit. I'm out, guys. You know, I'm gonna go and do my own thing. And obviously, I'm still available on. You know, I'm still connected to the internet, but like, not through Zuckerberg's pipes, and not through.
Unfortunately, I guess you're still on Instagram, right? Which is
I mean, but. Yeah, I mean, but I'm not having the kind of discussions or sharing the amount of personal shit on Instagram. You know, I mean, that's just a service, you know, like I don't even have it on my phone. It's like, look, you know, that's just a way for me to share my images to the people. But in terms of like actually my personal life, it's like, yeah, fuck off, you know, like jump on Signal, you know. And if anyone wants, we got like a Signal group that we started, but it's just three of us there. But
I'd really like to see that survive.
Yeah, well. It will slowly come together, and we can have chats. And I'm slowly coming out of my shell, you know, just talking about stuff. Painting a target on my back, but you know, I mean, you know what I mean. Like, it's I don't know. It's like self-censoring, where it's like, oh, well, you know, why would you, you know, what have you got to hide? Why would you want to get out of Facebook? It's like, well, actually, no, I don't.
It's not what you want to hide. It's
it's just like I don't want Mark fucking Zuckerberg, you know, that slimy creature, the lizard people. I don't want them seeing my stuff, you know.
Have you ever seen videos of Mark Zuckerberg like talking?
Yeah, yes, and he's like sipping the glasses of water like a robot.
He's so bizarre. Like there's this, there's this video of him, this live Facebook video of him at home with a couple of friends, and he's like barbecuing in his back garden. And he's making some beef brisket or something like this. I don't know. I don't even know what beef brisket is. This is such an American term. He's sitting there with a few friends and he's just talking about the whole process, but he's so awkward. He's like I can't even imagine how this man functions and how he runs a business. It's so bad.
I think the challenge, and I feel sorry for the man in a way. The challenge is, you know, he hasn't gone through the normal life stages, you know, and I mean, this is just pure judgment, you know, thick as butter, but like, you know, he made $1 billion at 21 or whatever it was. And at 21, it's like, man, what was I doing? You know, I was a twat, you know, and I forgive anyone who I knew at that time, but I forgive my apologies to anyone, and I hope you forgive me for who I was at that time. But you know, but he never had a chance to not be that, and so he's just kind of like, and it's like a morphed kind of, you know, in this like way, because he you know, he's never had the chance for personal growth, because that's what it does, you know. You just kind of, it stunts you, and you I don't know. And I mean, maybe, you know, someone had to do it. And so unfortunately he was the one, but
yeah, it's a good point what you say. Like, I guess you could make similarities to pop stars, you know, who become really famous really young.
You lose it. And I mean, we talk about this all the time, but you got to hold on to the fire, you know? I think, have you ever read any Cormac McCarthy books?
I tried to read The Road and I just couldn't get through it. I just couldn't click with it.
It's pretty intense, man. I read The Road in one sitting. I remember clearly, actually, like I was sitting in my old house in Kanagawa, and I sat there and I just read the whole fucking thing, and it's so gripping. And there's like, I mean, I've seen the movie as well, but the book is just like, holy shit, on another level. But they talk about, I think they talk about like this, there's the father and the son, and they talk about the fire, right, holding on to it, you know, at the kind of the moral goodness, because they're living in this apocalyptic wasteland, and you know, evil reigns supreme. And to hold on to the goodness is such a challenge, you know. But I feel like, you know, with creative work and with what we're doing, it's like, no matter what happens, if you lose that fire and you lose that little spark and it goes out, then you're kind of fucked, you know. And I'll help you, and we'll all, I'll give you a call and I'll walk you through it, if you reach out to me. But if you're actually in the position where you're reaching out and we're like able to have a chat, it means you haven't quite lost it yet, but if you forget about it and you just move on and think, I'm done with that, and you just leave it, that's when that it's kind of over.
Hard to light again at that point, the fire.
Yeah, it's hard, man. And it's like you flick the switch and decide you don't want to do it anymore. It's like, okay, I've given up. And so there is a difference, so if you're having a hard time and it's really tough, I appreciate that. And like, if anyone's having that, feel free to reach out and we can talk about it or whatever. But if you're in a position where you're reaching out about it, it's because you still care about it. And that's kind of a good place to be. But if you've given up on it and you think, you know what, I don't need that anymore, I don't want that anymore, then that's when you've actually given up for real. And to relight that, it's like actually a mission, man. And so it's like, it's actually almost better sometimes to not, to kind of struggle through it and kind of build it, and it builds its resilience. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
No,
but it sounds like you've put the fire out in Facebook. If we go back to
fire,
it's gone.
Yeah, no, I snuffed that one out.
Pissed all over it.
But well, I guess in a roundabout way, what I'm trying to say is like, because I was feeling pretty down, man. Like, and anyone out there who's still fucking locked down, if you want to chat, let me know. Whatever, we can jump on a call and do a pep talk. But like, I was like, man, I don't want to be the kind of person who's going to give up on my dreams. Like I was like, you know what, that's not who I am.
You don't strike me as that kind of person.
Well, no, everyone's got that in them, but like, I was like, yeah, this is starting to really get on me, and I had to identify the cause. I was like, okay, because it's definitely not, there's things I can remove and change in my life that's going to make that a lot better. So I was like, all right, let's just cut the bullshit. So get rid of Facebook, get rid of Google. I'm not a slave to those systems anymore. I'm a hacker deep down. My favorite movie is Hackers. Angelina Jolie, tight leather, motorbikes. Like that got me. That whole thing, and it was cool at the time. I was like, man, it's like, yeah, this is cyberpunk. And now cyberpunk is like, oh no, like getting our DNA sort of scoped up and databased and all of Black Mirror stuff. And it's quite negative. It's like, man, like we're living in the dystopia. But I'm like, no, that's not it. What who am I? What am I? What am I doing? Let's learn some new stuff. Let's start a new business. So I had this idea for a new business, which I'm going to chat to my buddy about, and we're going to just build this thing. And I've been learning Chinese, man. I've been listening to Chinese music. I met these guys. We did a little Chinese session over Signal, and I'm getting into it, man. And then I was having this chat with this guy about Maria Kondo, and and apparently she's got this book called Declutter Work, which is kind of the book I need to have, I think. Have you ever read any of her stuff?
I haven't, no. Chia Chan has, but I haven't.
I mean, she talks about the spark of joy, right? I'm pretty sure. I need to check it out, but I'm like, yeah, that sounds like the sort of thing that I'd be into. So I'm going to give her a go and see what she has to say.
It became a phenomenon, didn't it? She was on Netflix and she had all sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just like, oh man, because lockdown sucks, man. And it's the social aspect and everything. But I was like, look, I'm not going to let this thing get me. I'm going to work, and it's going to be this kind of new phase, right? And this new phase of work. And I actually sat down last night and did a bit of an edit on the last chapter of the book I'm working on, and a bunch of other things. So I was like, yeah, man, I ticked that off, did that, did a bit of Chinese, and just kind of like working through the good stuff, and kind of keeping onto that fire and like adding a bit of dry matter to it, get the bonfire going. And I want to spread that, I want to share that with people and like get people motivated about what they want to work on, and help people out if I can,
Yeah, well, you really need to be creative in times like this. Like, this is the reason why everybody turned into a baker at home, or they started knitting, or they started doing something creative, because, they realized that you can't just sit around and watch Netflix all day. But can I just ask, like, I'm not sure why did you choose Chinese to learn? What's the connection there for you?
Oh, I mean, well, actually, I'm actually pretty sure. So, because when I was 5 years old, I went to Sydney to see my auntie who was living over there at the time. And I remember quite clearly that we visited some of the markets and things, and I might have been down by Darling Harbour. And I remember just being really inspired by like the Chinese markets and things, because there's nothing like that in my hometown. And I mean, I call them Chinese markets, but pretty much just markets. But it was definitely more of like a Southern Chinese kind of Hong Kong vibe. So to pinpoint it, I mean, I love Shanghai, but to pinpoint it, I would say like Southern China is definitely kind of my thing. I haven't actually been to Southern China. I've been to Hong Kong, but that kind of like, like Cantonese, Guangdonghua, like kind of thing, like that really gets me. And I think I do think I trace it back to that first kind of little, little visit to Australia and seeing that with my own eyes. But then just the culture, just the food, everything that it kind of unlocks. It's like, I don't know, it's like a DLC for your life, because I mean, I love Japanese as well, but it's like, with Chinese, I can just like, you go into a restaurant anywhere and it's like, oh, it's got some, if it's Chinese restaurants, like, hey, like Zim Yang, what's up, guys? Like, you can just kind of chat with people, and I don't know, there's just like this whole other thing that you can just, you're part of a big club,
Do you think it's the difficulty that excites you a little bit about it?
Yeah, I mean, it is challenging, man. I mean, and it's quite esoteric, it's quite academic, like learning some of the characters and things, and some of the phrases, like there's like idioms and things which can be quite interesting, and it is so useful, and it's this kind of I mean, I also think it's just fucking cool, it's this kind of patois where it's like you can sort of use an English and Chinese in the same sentence, or whatever, and there's something cool about it, and I do feel like culturally, there's a lot going on there. I mean, it's quite a number of different cultures and ideas kind of connected, but overall, it's just kind of got a lot of energy, and I really respond to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm very much on the outside of China. Like I've never been there. I've never even really wanted to visit. I don't really know much about the culture, but from what I see of the countryside, it just looks like such a beautiful, peaceful, tranquil place. And then you have the cities of Shanghai and Beijing, and it's just absolute madness.
Yeah,
it's just like Japan but on steroids, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they're two different things, man. Like, I mean, if I was to drill into it, I would say I definitely had to overcome some preconceptions about it, and that was like a really big development, like personal development for me. Because I mean, there's so many people I talk to, and I'd never go to China, and I asked that because I had that same attitude myself. I was like, why would I ever want to go there? But then I was like, you know what? That's fucking short-sighted, I was like, man, I'm gonna just jump on a plane, and I might have told you this before, but I was like, I just jumped on a plane and went to Shanghai, and it was the best fucking time of my life, man. Like, pedal to the metal, like there was issues, there was so many challenges. I had this like transit visa which wasn't really valid, so I had to just go through this I had to go the long way back via South Korea to get back to Japan, but it was all fun. It was this kind of like adventure, whereas in Japan, everything would be like laid out and clean cut. China was like the opposite. It was just it was chaos. And I loved it. I thrived on it. And the people were so legit, man. Like in the most illegitimate way possible. Like you could just people. That's like the people were the real deal. And you just go and chat with people. And I didn't really speak Chinese at that time, but my friends did, and like we just talk our way into places. And you can kind of just discourse, and then you're all good. And that's coming back to me now, because I went into this Chinese restaurant the other day, and we were just chatting. I was with my buddy, and we're like, chatting to the owner in Chinese, and then she's, oh man, come in. And she gave us some drinks and stuff, and I was like, man, like we're in this like club now where it's like if you can speak Chinese, you actually can engage with so many different people about their life and just understand their story. And it's like from the outside, it's like China, but it's actually like so much more. And the people are so beautiful, and there's so much culture, film, music, everything. It just gets me excited, man. Like in the way that when I was first learning Japanese, I got excited about Japan. So it's like now I've got two things I'm really into. Does that answer your question?
Sweet. Yeah, absolutely. And are you thinking about moving to China one day, or?
Oh man, I'd love to. I'd love to go. I mean, it's always tough, with what's going on, but I'd love to spend a bit of time there. Let me put it that way. I'd love to travel across China. I'd love to go and just put myself into situations where, I can get to know the culture and the people, and for good or bad, because I mean, like, it is what it is, and I think just putting yourself out there and getting to know the people and see the way they live, and just sharing a meal or whatever, it just, I don't know, it connects you with one another in a way that I think the media and the politics all tries to do the opposite, right? It tries to split us off, and it's like, yeah, of course I love mapo tofu, and I'm going to have that. And if I enjoy that and then you guys enjoy that, then we're a family, we're daja, like it's all good. And I don't know, there's something about that. It's just like, it's beautiful, and it feels, I don't know, it makes me feel quite, it feels like it's kind of connecting to that hacker ethos as well. It's like, look, man, I'm speaking this language, I'm speaking your language, I'm learning this language. And so we're kind of able to share something together and make it better together,
It's interesting you mentioned the media, because I think that is the reason why most people have a negative view on China. And most people say, I don't want to go, I never want to go to China, blah, blah, blah. I think it is very much related to the negative image that we see in the media. So,
yeah. And I had that as well for a long time. But it's like, man, when you start actually chatting with the people on the ground, it's like, yeah, you get you get good people, you get bad people, whatever. But it's all good, like it's an adventure, let me put it that way. But yeah, so I'm really excited about that, and I've been just trying to study as much as I can and try and pick that up. And I mean, I don't know, languages are kind of my thing, I think it's great to have the freedom to learn languages and talk with people. And
good, man. Well, I'm sure but like when I was learning Korean, the best way for me to learn was by using like children's books, by to teach the children how to write Hangul and stuff like that. They're so direct and perfect at getting the knowledge in your brain. I used to go, when I lived in Brighton, I used to go to the library and take my my Korean children's books, and I would write out my Hangul and stuff like that. I loved it.
Oh man. Anyway, yeah, so for a while there I was watching was it Peachy Shaoju, I think it is, like Peppa Pig in Chinese, because it's really, I mean, sorry, this is just like for the laughs, but like it's so funny because they make all the noises and stuff, like, because I mean, I never watched it in English or whatever in English, but it's like the little pig is just like like what's your Peachy Shaoju, like and yeah, just the whole thing. But I actually I've gone past that now, and I'm like, okay, look, I'm going to just watch some movies,
Yeah, it's a good stepping stone.
Not adult movies, movies for adults. Let me clarify.
Maybe a few adult movies.
No. No, but I have been watching some really good Chinese movies, and yeah, just trying to get back into that space, man. I made a few good friends lately, and we've just been trying to chat and kind of like putting ourselves out there, and just kind of, I don't know, having the conversation and trying to keep it upbeat, man, because there's so much negativity in the world at the moment. There's so much going on, man. It's like, look, you got to keep that positive thinking, otherwise it's going to get you,
Yeah, there's a lot of negativity swirling around at the moment.
Well, it's scare tactics, and then this is like, because I had, as I said, like the other day, it was like maximum pain. I was like this is shit. This is like fear mongering 101, because basically it freezes people, and it's just like flight or fight response. It's like, and or fight or freeze, and people just sort of sit there watching the news and just gulping it up, and it's like, man, that's just destroying your mental capacity to do anything. And who needs that in their life? It's like, fuck, we're still here. Life is good, and even if it's not, we'll work through it, because it's kind of human nature to just like rebuild and do good things, right? But it's easy to be like, yeah, the world is ending. And even if it does, it's like, man, it's kind of happened before, like we've been on the verge of war, we've had wars and everything happened in the past, and we've always recovered. And so it's like actually keeping it a bit of positive energy. Otherwise, it's just doomsday for everyone,
Yeah, I mean, this definitely isn't the first time we've been on this planet, I reckon. I have this theory that this is sort of like the second or third time that human civilization has built itself up and then been destroyed and then gone back to zero, build itself up. We're just in a cycle.
Yeah, and it's like, was it Power Rangers? Oh no, Captain Planet. It's like, it's only you, like, yeah, we can save it. But I mean, that's why, like, I'm seeing some real opportunity to be like, all right, let's do some good work, like, let's carry the fire, help each other out. I'm always like, I love pumping people up and be like, yeah, you can do it, like,
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'd love to have more people like that around me as well. But like, it's like, I'll just do it for everyone else, But it's like, man, it's like, it's easy to get caught up in it. And one thing, sorry, not to drag it out, but one other thing I've noticed lately is on social media and Instagram and stuff is like the beauty standards and that people have. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it's been a big uptick. It's, it's really bad for young girls at the moment in high school.
Yeah, man. And I was like, you know what, this is, I mean, for me, it's quite fascinating, sort of the kind of the construction of it all, because it's like, the concept of beauty, it's like, has just morphed and changed so much to this unattainable standard.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, like, you're all beautiful, like, was it James Blunt, like, it's like, you guys have got it, like, it's all good, don't worry. But it's like, they do worry, and people get surgery and they do all this stuff. And it's like, man, you don't need to do that. If you just need me to tell you, like, or whatever, it's probably a bit seedy, but you know what I mean? Like, but they keep doing it. And so you got this kind of culture of like actually unattainable beauty standards and consumerism and things. It's like, man, what are you guys doing? Like,
to be honest, I'm really glad I'm not growing up in this time. I'm really glad I'm not a teenager looking at, beautiful people on Instagram and showing their best life, because it would lead to way more anxiety if I was younger.
Oh, bro. I mean, I'll tell you what, man, like, I mean, yeah, when I was growing up, so I was basically a hick until 18, right? Like, I grew up on the farm, like we were wandering around, bush bashing through the mountains. There was a bit of video games interspersed there, but there was a very healthy amount of, running around in the forest, having little wars with my friends and brothers and stuff. And it was like so much of this kind of classic upbringing of a childhood, and people always say, "Oh, back in my day," but it's like, actually, yeah, we're back in my day. We used to, we had these. We had these two huge logs that were just sitting in the field, and in between them, we sort of like made this little hut and made it into this like battleship and things. And it was like, man, that's what 12-year-old kids should be doing,
Yeah.
And I mean, I did it, for a number of years, and that sort of, that kind of very boyish kind of thing, and that's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of made me who I am in a way, and I think the wanderer as a kind of archetype comes from a lot of that stuff. Whereas if you're sitting in front of a machine, or you're looking at this you're consuming other people's ideas, it's like, fuck, I mean, that must just destroy innovation and ideas. And I mean, I feel really sorry for that,
Yeah, but they don't realize it, man, because they're just sucked into it. When you're watching Netflix every day, all day, every day, you don't realize what you could be doing, because you're just so entertained into stupidity.
Yeah, and it's this kind of comfort, Have you ever seen THX 1138?
Oh, yes.
George Lucas.
I studied it at university because it actually has a really interesting soundtrack.
Oh, really? And what way?
Beautiful soundtrack. I remember it was quite profound at the time when it was released. Like I think it was Walter Murch. I might be getting that wrong, and I really hope I don't. But I think it's Walter Murch that did the sound design for that, and it was quite groundbreaking at the time. It was quite revolutionary.
No, because it was what, 1971, right? Let's have a look. See.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I mean, anyway, I guess what I'm saying is that there's a scene where it's like, I mean, because they're kind of satisfied, right? They're getting fed this kind of stuff, and they're just living this sort of in the society, and it's all kind of. I mean, because there's other films like. Oh yeah, it is Walter Murch's the screenplay. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so he wrote it with Lucas, and Francis Ford Coppola was the producer, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant film. Crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, what I found really interesting is that it's quite, they have this kind of perfect life, and it's also like Logan's Run. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, that's nuts. Love it.
So there's Logan's Run, and then there was the one that came out, The Island, which is like Scarlett Johansson, I think, like many years later, but that was kind of based off it. But again, it's this kind of perfect world, but it's actually not. And and you see a lot of that in media, and I actually was thinking recently, I mean, because I don't fucking watch movies that have come out lately, but there was that Ready Player One, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just, browsing through it, and I was thinking, like, you know what, a lot of this is escapism, pure and simple.
100%.
And you see that, and then there's that, The Dude, and all these different movies coming out. Or is it Free Dude or something?
Not sure about that one.
Right, the Ryan Gosling one, whatever it is, and I mean, I don't know how I come across this stuff, but it's like, all of these kind of like alternate worlds and kind of like escapist kind of ideas.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happened to good old wholesome storytelling?
Well, this is what VR is, man. Like VR is taking over at the moment, and in a few years, it's going to be really, really powerful. And it's just escapism. It's just escaping from work and modern life.
And I, in a way, when you do the rubric on it, it feels like, even though VR, we could see it, if the trend continues and it gets more real, and it's like, people are just going to jump into that. But it's like, I don't actually think it works like that. Like, I think people's needs, because that's looking at it from a purely consumer perspective, where it's like, your needs will be met through this machine. But it's like, well, actually, human needs are a lot more broad, and that, and we do actually have the need to grow old and to become frail and to become less beautiful than we once were. Because if we don't have that, it's like, the analogy I think of is like with apples, growing fruit. You have to have winter. You have to have a cold winter snap to actually activate the fruit, or the bud of the fruit. If you don't have that, it doesn't actually grow. And so people think, just have nice weather all the time, you can grow fruit. But it's like, no, you do actually have to have this sort of cycles of the seasons to grow fruit. And I think humans are the same. We have to have winter each year to kind of activate ourselves, but we also have to have like the winter and the spring of our life to kind of go through. And when you're a young person, you have your spring, but then you do also have to have your autumn. And if you don't, it's not a complete cycle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But there are many cycles throughout your life, right? I mean, some people are really lucky and they sort of have just one cycle. They go through the hard times at the beginning, that they go through the winter at the beginning, and then they come out the other side as a new person. But for me, definitely for me, and I know I'm not alone. A lot of people are like this, but you do have to have these cycles over and over and over again, where you build yourself up, and then you have your winter and you come back down.
Yeah. And it is a seasonal thing, and we are ultimately kind of seasonal creatures, like, and I think the Instagram thing that kind of gets people is that it's all just summer. It's all just beaches and literally, like sort of the good days. But it's like, man, you do have to have the hard times to kind of build your character and build yourself up and build that wisdom. And I think that's lacking, and it leads to this kind of very selfish mode of operation. Because, when you're in your spring and you're young and nubile, it's all about the self, right? But, as you go older, and it's like, well, actually, I need to help others out. I need to do sort of good work. I need to create something more meaningful.
Yeah.
If you don't get to that stage, then it's like quite unfulfilled, It's kind of like this like bonsai tree. Like, it's not quite the real deal, And so I don't know, man, that's just,
I like it.
It's all connected. It's like even the sunspots, man. I was like 11 year. I used to be really into astronomy, and you got these like cycles of sunspots which affect the Earth's kind of or the temperatures on the Earth and things. But it's like 11-year cycles, and there's super cycles, and
right.
Because the sunspots is like dark or less lower temperature regions, magnetic kind of areas, and they kind of move at different speeds at the equator of the sun and the poles and that. Well, I don't think they have them at the poles, but higher up. And so there's this kind of and so there is these cycles, and so that was what led to, I don't know if you are aware, but a couple of hundred years ago that like the Thames froze over. There was like the mini ice age, they called it, in that. And people say it was maybe because of the sunspot activity. It was kind of quite a high period of activity at that point. So it's all kind of connected. Obviously even the ice age, where did that come from? It's all, obviously they're connected to the sun somehow. So, there's all these different like kind of cycles going on in our lives, in our daily life. The smallest ritual you have that you do every day, and then like the thing you do of your whole life. It's all different layers of it. But
on the macro level or the grander level. Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool. Well, that was a lot of different ideas there.
Yeah, we sort of riffed on a lot, but I just want to say thank you for reminding me of THX 1138. I'm going to go watch that because I'm really excited.
No, it's there's a couple of movies from that era which I remember watching quite clearly. But yes, THX 1138. There's obviously Logan's Run, and then I'm just trying to think of the others. But yeah, just that kind of 70s, 80s kind of aesthetic, you know. Or their version of kind of the future. There's also Brazil. I think you might have.
Brazil's fantastic. Yeah, Terry Gilliam from Monty Python fame. Absolutely fantastic movie, but really really wild and wacky and bizarre. There was a lot of movies like that. It was almost like a Jan Svankmajer, the Czech animator. He's like a stop motion animator. I'm not sure if he's from Czechoslovakia.
No.
But he does these really crazy, wonderful stop motion, like claymation animations of people like eating dinner plates and eating forks and eating tables and chairs, and it's sort of like this wild and wacky, Alice in Wonderland kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a number of good movies out there, man. Like, I think going back into the archives, I think we can kind of we can put the lid on Hollywood and be like, all right, well, it's done,
It's done. It's had its time.
And so it's all past tense, and I like that. It's like because it's now a reality that you could watch every great movie that was ever going to be made or that ever will be made, and you could just get through them all, There's no more coming out, or at least not in the mainstream. And not from Hollywood. Sweet, man. Well, it was good to catch up, and I think just to kind of wrap it up, I think if anyone is feeling a bit down and out about anything, reach out to people. Hey, reach out to me if you want to chat, if you really want to. But
please hook us up on Signal.
Yeah, talk to us on Signal. How do people even join our group? Do we have to invite them or?
Yes, I think is there a QR code or something? Can we place that in the show notes?
Maybe there's a Facebook group. Yeah. We'll email us or message us or something, and we'll give you the secret handshake and
the secret code.
We'll give you the code to the kingdom, and then you can join, and then we can chat, and look, everything's gonna be okay. I'm feeling pretty good about it, and even if it's not, we'll just have to deal with it.
Good, man. And we didn't even talk about my new album. I just realized.
I haven't.
Yeah, you need to go listen to it. Let's talk about it next time.
Let's do that. All right, man. Well, you have a great day on the boat.
Man. You too.
All right. Yeah, I'm not on the boat, but I'll at home by myself. No, I'm with some other people. It's okay. And we'll keep in touch, man. All right, take care.
Thank you. Take care.